No, Glenn. Stick to the script.
Is there a script?
No.
So we said we'd just bring you some highlights from our trip
So we left in the rain.
with our friends, Sean and Joan, who came down to say goodbye to us.
Yeah, they're so cute.
We travelled down through the Rush Channel and got a little bit bumpy at Carnsore Point.
It was very bouncy.
It was a little bouncy,
Yes.
and we were doing a little bit of Instagramming, and we discovered a song. They described it to us, so we did a little bit of karaoke.
Wasn't just karaoke, it was
Cockpit karaoke.
Sorry for inflicting that on you, but it was just so much fun for us, and it really helped that moment where it was raining and it was bouncy
Yeah.
and we were
It kind
going.
of it distracted some members of the crew a little bit. That this can be a normal situation. That the sea can be a little bit bumpy at times.
I grew up on the Atlantic.
What way was the sea?
We're going this way, that way, forwards, backwards, over the Irish Sea.
A bottle of rum in my tum, and that's the life for me.
It is actually a really good one if you have any kids that are a bit nervous of the sea or anything.
Yeah,
I think it would be very helpful.
Get them to sing it and remember it. Oyster Haven
was just beautiful, and after a long passage, the anchorage there was just gorgeous. It was very tranquil.
It's a beautiful little bay between Cork Harbour and Kinsale. I worked there many moons ago as a young man. I think we did the maths on it. It was 25 years ago. Went there on work experience for 3 weeks and got offered a job and stayed there for the summer and had an absolute ball. Didn't want to leave, but circumstances were that I did come back and I worked in a different centre then up in Blessington for a while. Outdoor pursuits, teaching windsurfing, sailing, kayaking.
It was your first time going back, wasn't it? For actually going in
It was my first time ever to go in and anchor in there. It was beautiful anchorage. Very safe. There was an awful lot of boats in there. It's a busy weekend.
Well, it was fabulous weather, so I mean, it is an idyllic little spot to go into, and I totally understood how you fell in love with the place immediately because it was just gorgeous. Definitely going to go back there.
We definitely want to go back there, yeah. We'd seen the window, we said we'd just go for it and get our way around to Cahore.
It was amazing.
It was a spectacular trip, and we use that word a bit when we see different places and different things. But to get in the Atlantic and have it so flat calm was very unusual. And the sea was so tranquil. There was no swell, very little wind, just enough to kind of keep a sail full as we motor sailed around. Out between Cape Clear and the Fastnet, around Mizzen Head, the most southwesterly point in Ireland, and up the Atlantic and into Cahore via the Skellig Rock. On the way around, we were accompanied by dolphins the whole way.
Yeah, from Seven Heads all the ways to the Skellig, we actually had pods of dolphins with us. At night time, the comet was happening, and then you had the dolphins
coming
night through the phosphorescence in the water. You had seen that before, but I had never seen that before.
I would describe it like torpedoes. They look like in the old films torpedoes going through the water at night. It's just this glowing tunnel in the water.
Yeah, it is really stunning. Like if anyone has ever seen it,
we couldn't capture it on film, unfortunately, but it was absolutely gorgeous.
I actually love it out there at night. It's beautiful, yeah.
Traveling by night is really nice. Traveling overnight, should I say, is really nice. You get to see lights and twinkles that you don't see during the day. it's a beautiful experience. People ask often, do you pull in for night and take a rest? But we have our beds with us. We're like snails. We have our bed with us, so we can go. We can do shifts, and one goes down, takes a rest, while the other one's up
Yeah.
on watch.
So every time I was feeling that little bit tired, then in the night watch, then the dolphins would come back, and I would immediately feel exhilarated because it was just so amazing watching them. We were off Bantry Bay, like Glenn was saying, the Atlantic was like a complete milk pond, and we saw what we thought or what we think were
Minke
minke
whales.
whales, just off at the distance. Um, so
You could see their backs broaching up out of the water as they were feeding, and we later found out they were feeding at that time. So it was just, and you could see them miles away, which in the Atlantic is unheard of because the sea was so flat.
And if you can hear shouts in the background, there we're looking over at pure jumpers, so having loads of fun and realizing that the Irish Sea is a bit chilly.
Yeah.
One of the highlights of that trip for me was definitely sailing past the Skellig and then the dolphins and that footage. Like they were with us for about 10 minutes. You were actually having a rest at the time, and I was like, Glenn, I'm going up the bow. So it it was really emotional. And when I stopped filming that, I had to actually sit on the deck and just say to Glenn, can you take the camera? Because I was just kind of shaken.
You've seen the Skellig, it's a magical place, or if you've been on it, there is something really special about that area of the sea.
Yeah.
It's why thousands of years ago people went out there and they prayed out there, they set up monasteries out there, because it's a special place in the world.
Yeah, it's a really spiritual place.
And then we went around the Skellig and into Cahore, and yeah, then another little adventure starts, which
Jesus, we were wrecked after those few days. 48 hours sailing isn't, but doesn't put a patch to.
With a little rest in between.
Yes, but yeah, it doesn't put a patch on a few days catching up with my family, and it was so fantastic. Like my mother was there waving a little handkerchief when
as we came into
coming
Cahore.
Yeah, and my sister and nieces were there as well, and it was just so fantastic in there, and just had a wonderful, wonderful time. My way. For what is a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he has not to say the things he truly feels, and not the words of one who kneels. The record shows I took the blows and did it my So while we were in Carsveen, we actually met somebody really, really important who I never even knew existed. But there is a Queen of Begnish, and we can't actually disclose who that person is because apparently it's all connected with folklore and fairies and all of that kind of thing that we're so great at in Ireland. But yeah, so we actually had the Queen of Begnish escort us
out around the island.
Out around the island, brought us to
A Viking fort.
a Viking fort in there, and got us. Well, when I say us, Glenn didn't do it.
Gave us permission to actually land on the island, really.
Oh yeah, true, because she is the queen. Like, I mean, there are people that own parts of the island, but apparently this queen owns it, really.
They just
Spiritually.
don't know it.
Yeah. Give us permission to have a swim. Glenn declined, but
Glenn got a bit panicked because of a bit of fog rolling in.
yeah, but sure, it was fine. We were in Kerry at that point. Everything's grand. But I went into the water there at the beach in Begnish. Oh my god, it was fabulous. It was like having been at a spa or something. And when I came out, it was just like so warm and everything. It's just such a beautiful island. It's between the mainland and Valencia in the harbour there. So it's just stunning and gorgeous for anchoring. Again, like if we had more time
We
down
would
there,
go
we
back
would
and stay there
definitely
for a
have
night.
anchored out there for a
Yeah,
night because
it's
just
very safe,
fab.
secure. In behind both Valencia and Begnish, you're kind of double protected there in the bay. Opposite Knightstown, where there's loads of facilities and things. Just up down the river from Carsavine.
So, hi to the Queen of Begnish.
Hi, Queen of Begnish.
Thanks
You know
for
who
the
you
tour.
are.
My lips are sealed.
We know. We know.
We know.
She reminds us very much of a sister-in-law.
Who?
I don't know who you're talking about.
I don't know. That makes no sense, Glenn.
True.
Clearly, the secret is safe with me. Maybe not so much with Glenn.
We left Carsavine and went around to Crookhaven.
Yes.
Passing where we picked up a mooring for the night, passing Mizzen Head along the way.
Yeah, which was beautiful.
And all the bays that we crossed out, we want to go back and visit every single one of them. All the little harbours in there. Bantry Bay, Kinmare Bay. They're just
loads of bays.
Loads of bays, and in all those little bays, you could do a whole week in each one.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And not come out again.
Well, hopefully come out again.
Not within the week. We didn't get off the boat in Crookhaven on this occasion. We just picked up a mooring, and then the following morning we went across to see Cape Clear.
We were hoping, to spend a couple of days in Cape Clear because everybody that I know talks about Cape Clear, and we know a caper. We went in there and it was crowded. Jammers, so much so we had to reverse out.
So we came out of there and we went across to Shurkin Island, where we anchored for the day.
Yeah, gorgeous little island.
Yeah.
We had hoped to anchor there for the night and spend a bit more time there the next day, but the winds just kind of changed a bit, so we went into the pontoon in Baltimore, and then the winds changed even more than it was meant to.
We were a little bit, oh, shook up.
Crazy. It was bouncy.
Cockpit karaoke strikes again. It was a little bouncy in there.
Yeah, but Baltimore is just a gorgeous village, and they're really helpful there on the pontoon.
They were really good to us.
And sure, we were drinking wine on the pontoon with our neighbours, so hi to our neighbours.
Hi neighbours.
So gas people.
Yeah.
Had really good pizza there as well.
I had my birthday pint. My birthday was in March, but I had my birthday pint, and I had to have two. The first one was so nice, I had to check with a second one that I just wasn't dreaming. Pint of Guinness, sitting in Bush's Bar, looking out at Baltimore Bay. It's one of the little highlights of anybody's trip to West Cork. And even when we were back, people were saying, "Did you have a pint in Bush's Bar?"
Yeah.
Because
and we had food as well, obviously, because it's COVID time, and the bars are not open unless they're serving food.
And
so
the open crab sandwich you
had.
that
was delicious.
Yeah.
It inspired us to go and buy some crab, local crab, and have it on board
for the next day's lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful.
That was such a lovely day in
We
Baltimore.
also picked up our piece of art in on every trip. We pick up a piece of local art
The yellow door. Well, I was the yellow
from our
door. We
trip,
got it.
but from our trip.
Okay.
Yellow Door is where we got
Okay.
it.
Yeah. Sorry, Glenn. Yeah. So each trip that we've been on, we've bought or supported local artists, um, and just something to kind of represent
Our trip.
our trip. It's really nice little tradition of ours,
Yeah.
but also one of the keepsakes from the trip is going to be one of the photographs that Glenn got of the Skellig as we were going past. So we're also going to print that off
Print that off and
and
I'll
have it
probably put it up online at some point.
as our local artists.
Yeah.
We spent
2 days.
2
nights.
two nights,
2 nights in Baltimore.
Baltimore because there was small craft warnings and stuff like that.
Yeah, and we left and came around into a little sheltered bay called Barlow Creek. Barlow Creek.
Which is next to Loch Hyne, and that is just so beautiful as well. It's gorgeous, gorgeous anchorage. Could have spent nights there.
And there's a little tiny tidal race between the loch and the creek, and when the tide is going in or coming out, it creates a little rapids. So we caught the rapids going in, and
there was no rapids coming out. We waited and waited, and there was no rapids.
Spent an hour or two in there waiting for the tide to change, and we just didn't quite catch it right. So we missed the rapids on the way back out.
But we did land on the little island in there, and the grasshoppers were unreal. I haven't heard grasshoppers like that since I was a kid.
Very tranquil, and there's just a couple of kayakers kayaking around. You can rent kayaks there, and you can kayak around the little bay. We just sat on the island for an hour or two, just listening and watching. It's just so calm and so relaxing. And we caught the flow back out. We won't say the rapids back out to our boat. Had our little crab sandwiches, sitting on the deck, and continued on to Kinsale. And we went into Kinsale to sit out a little bit of a weather front and a bad day, and we restocked the boat and met Reese and Neve from Sailing Zora, who are renovating or doing up a steel boat from an abandoned steel boat from scratch almost.
Yeah, it's fantastic the work that they've done.
It's fantastic.
And congratulations, because they got engaged.
Oh, they got engaged. Congratulations, guys.
Since we saw them.
Yeah, that only happened since we left. So yeah, delighted for them.
Yeah, so it was lovely to meet them briefly. I know they were really busy before their trip.
They're up to their eyes working, trying to get the boat completed. Left Kinsale.
Yes.
And went to Youghal.
Yes.
Youghal was a very pretty little town to enter. A little bit technical to get into, which was nice. You kind of like a little challenge from time to time. And then we tied up to a pontoon there, which again was a little bit...
It was a bit bouncy.
With the flow of the tide in there. If we were going back in again, we would use a mooring or visitor's mooring
or anchor on the
other side of the bay.
Yeah. So we
just did the one night in there.
Yeah.
And then we headed to here.
Yeah, which was kind of initially not in our plan. We were thinking about Dunmore East or Kilmore Quay. But as we were out there, it was just looking like we would have been kind of sailing the whole way to here at one point, but the wind never kind of fully picked up until we got round the corner.
and we had a beautiful sail around those, so it was well worth it. We had the tides with us from Carnsore all the way up through the Rush Channel and popped us out here just at Cahore Point.
Yes. To the smell of pizza in the air as you were coming in, and we had been sailing for 15 hours,
Yeah,
was it, or something?
15 hours.
So to get that waft of pizza,
Pizza.
and the moon was coming up, and
Balm Beach just south of Cahore Point, and they started setting off fireworks, so it was like they were expecting us.
it was like a little festival for us here on the water. It's just beautiful night here, and we just love anchoring here.
So this is one of our favourite little spots, and it's only an hour from home, so we come here quite regularly, and we'll share more with you on that, but we will show you our pizzas. And
Oh my god, that looks so delicious. I'm not sure if we will have enough, Glenn.
I think we need another one. Do you want to go back for another one?
Yeah. Yummy. Just some time to kind of chill out here, and Glenn's parents have been minding our two fur babies. Thank you, Margaret and Ian, you're saints. So they came down
they came down with Poppy.
and we did the cliff walk here yesterday with them. So lovely to see them and to see Pop.
Yeah. It's nice to have that little bit of R&R, which a little over an hour to get home now.
Yeah, and of course it's love to stay sailing for longer, but look forward to our next trips, and and just using the boat and doing even trips down to here to Cahore as often as we can. Yeah, because the time is precious, and we love it.
We love it. Love it, we do. So yeah, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
For whatever bit of journey you've joined us for. Slán a bhaile. Thanks for watching our video.
Hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, press like, subscribe, and ring that bell. I think that's what they say.
And even leave a comment, let us know what you think.
Oh yeah, cool.